my transmission cooler up into the airflow, since the transmission cooler is behind the bumper. It's basically right behind this area. I guess these holes are supposed to let air through, but we have a lot of overheating issues with, not overheating, but heating up issues with this when it's towing. So I just want to show you, this grill just pops off. There's just a clip back here. This just pops off, and you pull real hard right here, and this just pops off. Do the same thing on this side. This pops off. This pops off. First thing you got to do is remove the four little body clips that are up here on the top. There's 4 body clips. I'll show you those. There's these 4 body clips right here that you have to take off. There's this body clip, this one, and this one. And then these just pop out. They just have little pop outs. I'll show you that. Anyway, this just pops out. Once you get this popped out, it just comes off. And then you can see there's these little clips that are what you're pulling out of where they connect inside the little metal slots in there. So I'm just yanking that thing off. And then I can show you where the transmission mount is mounted here. You can see this is the top of the bumper. This is where all the air is flowing in through the grill, and that transmission cooler is down below. So I'm hoping that this will help. I did read a couple of blogs where guys said that this helped a lot. Basically, we're going to take this apart. I'm going to undo these 2 bolts right here, these 2 connections. Dismount this from the frame rail here. Flip it upside down so that it comes up into this area. It'll now be in this area, right in here. And then we'll have to remount the bracketry onto this little A-frame they've got going in front of the, this is, which one is that? I think that's the air conditioning coil. So that's what we're doing. I'll show you the steps as I can. Set this right here. Okay. There you go. Okay, so I just took a couple of crescent wrenches. You want to back this up because this is aluminum, so it will bend. I'm going to get some rags to go underneath here. Alright. Just placing some rags underneath here. Catch as much of this transmission oil that comes out. I don't know how much will come out. These should be under pressure. As long as the truck's not running, there shouldn't be any pressure. We're going to pull this apart. I got a little bit came out, not too much. More will probably come out when I flip this thing upside down. There'll probably be more that comes out. I'll flip this over. You guys can see it. And then loosen this side up. Over here. Yeah, not too much came out that side. Alright, so these have like little O-rings that seal them. So they should seal back up, no problem. You just have these little black O-ring here, and you slide it back. It looks like it's almost like a little beveled seat right there that the O-rings go in. All right, get that out of the way, and then we'll start working on this. There's also this. You can see it in the camera. Let's see if you can see it. There's also this little sensor right here, which I don't know if it's a temperature sensor or airflow sensor or what it is, but we'll have to remount that as well. Once we flip this bracket over, we'll remount this somewhere. It looks like it's got a little temperature sensor in there. And get going on that. All right, to start out, I'm just going to remove this. There's two of these bolts here, 10 millimeter socket. That's really all there is. Other than on this side, there is where the two lines go into, there's a little strap bracket down here that's in the bottom of the radiator or the transmission cooler. So you just pull that right out. That didn't even give me any resistance, just slid right out. And then this thing pops right up. So I'm just going to pop it up. I'm going to lean it backwards. Hopefully, oh yeah, there's quite a bit more oil in there. So when you flip it back upside down, there is quite a bit of oil in it. I think I'm going to go ahead and capture that oil because I don't have any transmission oil for this one. So I'm going to capture that and put it back in the transmission, I think. Let's see what I've got here. All right, it looks like there was quite a bit of oil in there, so I just drained it out into a little clean cup that I can reuse it. And then I just put some towels in here to get the residual that still wants to kind of drip out, so I don't get it all over everything I'm doing. And then basically, you got to see where the lines will hook back up into this radiator, how much play you have. There is quite a bit, so you can get this up pretty high as long as you can make some bracketry work. So we'll figure that out next, figure out where the brackets will work and where they won't work. So I'm just pulling the bolts out of this bracket that's now on the bottom. It used to be on the top. I'm gonna see if I can reuse this bracket and maybe these little nut clips here. See if we can put it on the back of this. See if we can put it on the back of this unit and then use that to mount to here. That's pretty much what I'm going to try to do. Now they had nut certs in this little A-pillar right here. They have little nut certs, so you bolted right into it. There's another one up here, which I don't know what that was for. And then don't forget, we'll have to remount this guy somewhere too, this little thermostat. We'll get it up here somewhere. You can mount it right into the side of this or somewhere. We'll find a spot for it. In the meantime, I can decide if I can make this bracket go. Get these two lines. I'm going to stage these two lines in here. Just get the threads just started, just a couple of threads. And then that way I know how much play I have in these two lines coming up down here. There's quite a bit of play. I'll probably look underneath and make sure that we're not rubbing up against anything by pulling up on these. they go. Looks like they go from there to some rubber lines underneath. We should have plenty of play there. Not quite. I was trying to see if those two holes that were already in it would line up with where these grommets are, but I don't think so. So I'm probably going to have to drill a couple of holes in there. You might be able to just use some. You might be able to just use a couple of L brackets right here too. You can put an L bracket off of where these grommets are behind here, and you could just put an L bracket there maybe, and go. And that'd be a tough angle to make. So yeah, pull these grommets out. They're not going to get reused, so. I don't plan on reusing these little grommets that were on the bottom before. They went into some holes in the frame. So I'm just going to cut them off because I'm not going to save them for anything. So I'm just going to get a razor knife and just cut them off. Get those out of there. Out. Now these holes are pretty big that are left behind from those grommets. These are at least 3/8 of an inch, almost a 1/2 inch hole. So that would require a pretty big bolt. I'm not sure I want to put that big of a bolt in there, or a smaller bolt with, might be able to do a smaller bolt with washers. This top plate will cover the top so you don't have to use a washer, but then I'd have to put a pretty big washer on the bottom, which we can do that. But you can see that this is going to mount quite a bit higher above the bumper. So the bottom of this, basically without putting too much pressure on it, just lifting it up a touch, it basically now becomes even with the bottom of this bumper. The bottom of this radiator will be even with the bottom of this bumper. And then I think what I'm going to do is scoot this bracket over a little bit, and then I think I'm going to cut this plate out of the back of this bracket, only because it's just blocking some of the radiator here, and I'm trying to get as much airflow through this to keep it cool as possible. So I think I like the idea of having the bracket go all the way across, but I think I'm going to cut this at an angle and cut the back of this off so that I just get this little bit of airflow right there. It's probably about 1 inch. Yeah, it's just under 1 inch of material. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll get back on it. Okay guys, so I just was able to use one hole that was existing. I drilled another hole in this side on this bracket, and then I just put some 1/4 inch bolts with some a small washer and then a bigger washer, cover those holes, and then just a regular nut. Right now it's not tight because I'm going to put it back up against here one more time and then mark out anything I want to cut off. Alright, so I'm just going to cut off this extra wing area on the side here, same reason, so it doesn't block airflow. Same thing on the other side, and then I just kind of did a diagonal line, and I'm going to cut it across the back for the same reason, just to give that little bit of extra airflow. And then I'll drill a hole for mounting. I got to mount this. I'm thinking about just using some self-tapping screws. This one I have a hole right where I'm going to mount it. So if I self-tap this one, I'm going to have to put some washers I'm gonna have to put some washers on it. And then whatever you drill through here, make sure you don't go into the radiator behind it. You don't want to go into this AC coolant AC condensing radiator. And then that should be pretty good. I'll figure out where this sensor is going to mount. Alright. I'm going to leave this and drill a hole for that. So this will go in a little bracket. I'm going to leave this bottom part of this bracket. I'll drill a hole in that, push that back up through there, so then the sensor will be just above this radiator in that position. It's the same size hole as the holes that are in this bracket, so I'll just find a drill bit that's the same size and make sure I drill a hole the same size. And then we'll just push it up. We'll just push it up right into that bottom of this bracket right here. Okay, you guys, so this is what I came up with for the bracket. I cut off the extra wings, drilled a hole right here that this guy is going to fit in and kind of lock back in. It's just going to push right up in here. I'm just going to go in upside down, and it'll just sit there like it used to sit before. I just drilled a new hole off to the side where it's going to mount. I cut out the material in the middle, but if you can see real close here, I don't know, there's little gusset tabs on this because this bracket is actually aluminum, so they had these little gussets on there, and I tried to leave most of those, at least like 3/4 of them, just for a little bit of strength. But I like having the bracket going all the way across just for the added strength. Realistically, you probably could get away with just these tabs on the end holding it to this A-frame, but I went ahead and left it going all the way across. I got some self-tapping screws now. I'm gonna just go ahead and tap this in where I think it fits best, with the hoses hooked up once again, so that we don't put too much strain on them. Matter of fact, this time I should be able to put them in and then leave them in. This one over here on the right side obviously has the most play because it comes all the way across from behind the bumper there, and it's got lots of play. So it's the one over here on the left. It's really kind of the one that's going to restrict everything. So I'm just going to pull it up to where I feel it's comfortable. It's sitting above the bumper, which is my main. That's my main concern. I get it up above the bumper for good airflow. So at least I can eliminate that as a source of my heating up when I tow. I got these, we call these lathing screws. They're self-tapping screws. They're pretty reliable. I pre-drilled a hole here for this one in the bracket so that all the bite's going to be in the A-frame behind it. There's that one, and then just raise this up here just to level it a little bit so at least it's straight. And then this one I put a washer on this one to span across this bigger hole. It's already in the bracket. Okay, so that one I pre-drilled because this little bracket's in the way of the screwdriver getting in there nice and straight, and then it'll impact. Alright. We'll just screw that in, lift that up a little bit, tighten it up. That's nice and tight. This sensor, this little air temperature sensor, whatever that is in. I'm just going to tighten both of these screws up real good. And then you can see that radiator sits in a lot better spot now. It's well above the bumper. Should get good airflow across the radiator. So now I'll just tighten these guys up. Get them nice and tight. Hopefully the seals work well. If not, I'll have to get new seals for them, but I don't see why they didn't get torn or anything. And then I will put the grill back on. Once again, the grill just pops in. Just get it in place and give it a little pop. One goes up here, one goes down here. Same on this side. One of the clips there, one of the clips there, and one of the clips back inside behind these, between the two headlights. And then it just pops right in. Put the 4 clips back in the top here, and then your grill's back together. And I'll put the oil that I took out of this, I'll put the oil back in, make sure I got a good level on my transmission level. If not, I'll have to go get some oil. A little tricky on the crescent wrench. Can't go in from the top now because it gets in the way of the other bolt, it looks like. Yeah. So I'll have to do a little crescent wrench from the bottom thing here, just stuff it down between the plastics. Back this up. Because everything's aluminum, you want to back it up because it's soft and it can all bend. It can bend. You don't want it to bend. Get that nice and snug. Like I said, it is a type of an O-ring seal, so you shouldn't have to kill it to get it tight. But you want to make sure it's nice and snug so it seals up good for you. You just kind of stop. And then that's it. This is mounted. It's pretty solid. I mean, it's got a tiny little wiggle, but nothing that's going to cause it to break or anything. These hoses on the bottom will help hold it a little bit. Not too much. Yeah, they are just connected to rubber hoses, it looks like, on the bottom. So yeah, if anything, you could try to remount this strap in another spot or use an extra little bracket down here. I don't think I'm even going to worry about it. It doesn't seem to be too much. I'll look at it from underneath and see if there's anything I want to strap up or zip tie. You can always zip tie it underneath. If it's just rubber hoses, you can zip tie them just so they're not shaking too much. But you can see this thing will move a touch, but it's not like it moves a bunch. There are the old tabs that were hanging down from the bottom. If you wanted to put a strap from this cross member up to these tabs, you can. But unless it's angle iron, that strap's just going to wiggle too. But if you wanted to make it really solid, you could strap it with some angle iron. Or even if you wanted to get another strap going all the way across, this little A-frame, you could strap it all the way across. I don't see a need for it. This is pretty solid. All of these radiators move a little bit. They're just sitting in rubber tabs, but it does keep them from swinging, catches some vibration. But these hoses have some pretty good give in them, so that'll allow for vibration as well. I don't see that thing moving. So that's it. Yep. Put the grill back together, and then we'll give it a test. See how it works. See if it seems like it's cooling it the way I want it to, and it'll be good.